What if I told you,
We have 15 minutes.
I know what happens when you die?
Hello, boys.
None of us will be remembered.
You become a ghost.
The best part of being dead?
Guys, I got a bad idea.
Don't have bad ideas. Have good ideas.
Was that a bad guy?
Today, we are going to recap an interesting movie named Six Underground. But before starting, I would like to request all of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also press the bell icon to get notified. So let's begin. Popularly known as Ryan Reynolds and anonymously known as one in this American vigilant action thriller called Six Underground, he recruits a team of 5 people, including him. He gives them a numbered nickname. Just like him, these people have no past and are considered dead, so that means they fake their own death and decide to work as ghosts. After they had gone to interrogate the lawyer of a tyrant in Florence, Italy, they are being pursued by gunmen with heavy gun power. 2 spies were shot through a window while she was trying to escape, and 5, who is actually a doctor, can be seen trying to operate on 2's gun wound, while the crew wearing a hot car chase. Meanwhile, 6 is a very skillful driver. He evades the gunmen, leading to a lot of car accidents. While they are being pursued by a motorcyclist, 2 decide to step up for the crew by firing at the rider while she is still injured. As the chase becomes so intense, 1 requested that 4 help out for another member of the vigilant crew, a Skywalker who is basically good at running past buildings. He helped in taking out some gunmen in the most tragic way. 1 who had scooped out the eyes of the lawyer then uses his eyeballs to unlock the transmission between their number 1 target Roebuck and his 4 generals. Number 3, who is a hitman, then helped out 4 in taking down the remaining gunmen. But in the process, 6, the fast and furious driver, got killed in the most brutal way. This made the team devastated. They wrapped up his body in an emotional moment. They tossed him into the ocean. Nobody knew anything about 6, as close relationships with each member was forbidden. It was worse till the extent that they didn't even know each other's name. 1 wanted it that way. He was like the professor of 6 skillful vigilants. Just at this time around, they weren't robbing banks, but fighting for the cause of the people, and their nicknames were based on numbers. 1 then tells the group that they had to find a number 7 to replace 6, the Gray Man. The movie then switches to Falcon Soldier on a mission in Afghanistan. Blaine is actually a sniper man from the Delta Force on a screwed up mission in Afghanistan. Blaine saw his whole team die. He had the chance to save his teammates by taking a shot, but because of the orders from higher authorities, he didn't shoot. This event made Blaine live with guilt for the rest of his military life. While Blaine was thinking about his teammates in the effed up mission in Afghanistan, 1 came to him and told him that he would have ordered him to pull the trigger. He gives Blaine an opportunity to fight world-class evil leaders. He invites him to the crew as number 7. Blaine, who wanted to redeem himself, then accepts the offer. Blaine faked his death, and a befitting burial with military paparazzi was conducted in honor of the soldier. Blaine was able to witness his own burial as his brother cried uncontrollably. 1 introduces 7 to the team. He briefs him on the vision of the crew, saying their objective is to take down world leaders who were bad. He reminds 7 that he is dead, so he is going to be restricted from visiting certain cities in any association with his loved ones that had to be cut off. 1 then tells the crew about their next mission and number 1 target, Rovac Alamov, a Turkestan dictator who treated his people as slaves, then finally hit Rovac and bring back peace to the country. It wasn't going to be an easy mission, but with the help of 1's neodymium micromagnets invention, they could probably pull through. Blaine then inquires to know more about Rovac's story. People were fleeing the country because of Rovac's military rule. Rovac is so cruel to his people, he takes down anyone who tries to rebel against him. 1 who was still a philanthropist at that time paid a visit to the Turkestan border to carry out his good works on the injured and sick citizens, but he was just doing it for the papers and not actually from his heart. Just as he is trying to donate for the cause of the Turkestan people, Rovac launched an airstrike on the border, taking down so many people, young and old. As 1 watched so many defenseless people die that day, he decided to have a change of heart and actually put his good works into action. He decided to be a good Jeffrey Dahmer and form the anonymous vigilant group that will take down these tyrant leaders once and for all. It is believed that Rovac's philosophy is to use his power to communicate, resolve, and inspire fear in his enemies. 1 meets up with Roebuck after a stage drama relating to tyrants. He tells him that no matter how a tyrant acts, back to the present day, the most feared dictator Rovac then ordered his 4 generals to go over to Las Vegas, where they will meet up with Victor, the arms dealer. He tells them to have fun and get drunk after they have completed the mission. 1 then informs the team that they will be going over to Las Vegas to take down the 4 generals. He tells them that they had to be careful because Las Vegas has more facial recognition software than anywhere in the world, so they needed to choose their disguises wisely, be subtle, and blend in. Then proceeded to the other room where the general who knew about the location of Murat was having sex with one of the girls. They held him at gunpoint and then demanded the location of Murat. After he had revealed the location, he was shot in the head and died while he was still inside a woman, a pleasurable death. 1 then criticized their disguises, saying they dressed like clowns, overlooking his own Vegas biker costume. After the bloody event, 2 and 3 then stirred up an emotional connection as they had sex together. The next morning, 3 tells 2 that he had to go somewhere and needed to speak to somebody. He went over to a hospital to see his mom, who is suffering from loss of memory. He tells her about the mission and how he was going to take out bad guys so he can erase his bad past and write a new one, but his mother wasn't pleased with him as she tagged him a murderer for what he did in the past. 3, originally known as Hobbies, once worked for a mafia guy named Diego at Turkestan, a furious Rovech, then addressed his man on the killing of his generals. Since he had to replace the generals, he called out 4 other people who were next in line, but then throws them off the building, saying it wouldn't be wise to trust those who stood the most to benefit from the death of the generals, so he appointed new people as generals. Meanwhile, as the team prepares to fly to Hong Kong so they can rescue Murat, 4 narrated to the crew on how he was recruited by 1 during a failed mission. In the next scene, Rovech travels to visit his brother in Hong Kong. He asks him if he knows anything about the attack on his generals, but Murat claims not to know anything. Rovech then tells Murat that this attacks on his generals will only increase the intensity of his strikes. He tells Rovech that he would be going back to Turkestan, and he had given a muscular bodyguard strict order to harm Murat if anything happens to him. On their way out, they were faced with so many men, which wasn't supposed to happen according to the plan. 7 then tells them to grab onto something. He shoots at the pool's glass as the water floods the whole building, wiping out Rovech's men. The team managed to escape using the zip line, but 4 wasn't able to make it out on time as he was faced with to kick Rovech's bodyguard. 1 wanted to stick with his philosophy by leaving 4 on the mission, but in an emotional scene, 7 stopped him, saying he is never going to leave his teammate behind again. He steps out of the car position, hits sniper, and then shoots to kick hereby saving 4. The next day, after they had completed the mission, 7 got into an argument with 1. 1 tells him that the mission is more important than the man, but 7 wasn't ready to subscribe to that philosophy. 1 activates his magnetic invention, which took out the majority of the guards. They proceeded to find Rovech, but in the process, the yacht began to sink because of an explosion that occurred. 4 who were at the upper deck had no chance of escaping because he was surrounded by Rovech's men. They had to pursue Rovech, who was trying to escape or risk the mission by saving 4. It became a titanic situation, but 1 had a change of heart and proceeded to save 4. Rovech escaped the sinking yacht using a bow. As he transfers to a helicopter, he discovers that it was being piloted by Murat in the Ghost team. Rovech begs his brother for mercy, but he tells him that it was too late as his sins had caught up with him. Rovech then asked to die with dignity, but they dropped him off in a Turkestan refugee camp where angry citizens rushed him and then beat him to death. After the death of Rovech, Murat was made the new president, while 2 and 3 sparked a relationship. He takes 2 to go see his mother as she embraces him tightly. 4 and 5 spent their time together climbing mountains, while 1 and 7 travels to New York City. 1 sees the woman who he had shared an emotional connection with before he started the Vigilant group. He watches her from a distance as she goes over to meet her son, which could possibly be 1's son. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.